The superstars of Fan Control Football Season 2.0 are not only the who's who of celebrity team owners and influencers, not the 21 million live views of our Emmy-nominated broadcast. Across Twitch, DAZN, Fubo, NBCLX, Peacock. Or our highlights that scored over 100 million views. And we can't forget best-in-class sponsors. But the biggest star of Season 2 is our play calling app that allow fans to control the action on the field. Fans pick a team, pick a play, 4 run plays, 4 pass plays to choose from. The play with the most votes is called in real time.
We got it.
This is where video games and live action come to life. And now, Fan Control Sports and Entertainment brings you Fan Controlled Hoops, where fans call the shots. Coming 2023, the future of sports is here, and it's Fan Control. Power to the fans.
Are you ready for it?
Bam!
Do it.
Welcome. I didn't know I was on.
Don't get too close to that mic because you're gonna blow it up on a.
Oh, am I? Hold on. I can turn it down.
Oh,
I just turned it down. How is that? Is that better?
well, I think so. Yeah, keep talking.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. New mic.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a new mic. Man, listen, I dropped my Rode mic on the floor. I was getting it ready for an audition, and I dropped it, and it actually dropped on the softy part, when the foam on it. Plugged it back up, couldn't get it to work, and I am pissed. So I'm like I don't even remember how I bought it, when I bought it. It's got to be Amazon. My wife's last name should be Amazon, so I'm pretty sure I just got to ask her, and I'll figure it out.
You and my wife. My internet is terrible today. What is going on here? This is horrendous.
It just started.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Can you hear me?
I thought it was because I didn't have my glasses on. I was like, wow, man, my guy is blurry. I need to put my glasses on, but that's just you.
Oh man, this is
but
brutal.
But
like
you, I can sound. I can hear you though. You good?
All right. Well, and Jim, our producer, calling me out in the chat. Josh with the 56K modem. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Josh with the analog TV.
Just dial up AOL CD and mail.
Man.
Well, welcome everybody to the Fan Controlled Show. It's Thursday. It's 2:30 p.m. Pacific. It's 5:30 Eastern. We're here as usual. Today, it's just the Ink and Toner Show. Jeff Cannata literally is at a castle in England.
Yeah, right.
He's in a castle.
I heard, I was like, when we were looking at the text, I'm like, wait, castle? What? I'm like, White Castle? Man, I'm like, I'm down the street from a White Castle. So it was like,
I haven't been to a White Castle in a minute, man.
I have never, no shit. That's funny. No shit. I've never been to a White Castle, and that's why, because I heard it comes out of you pretty violent.
I went to one. It's near like Madison Square Garden. It was horrendous, and I'd never have to go back there. So I'm good with that.
What you mean? Was the shit horrendous or the actual White Castle?
Everything, all of it.
Okay,
I was putting my pants on a subway, and I'll tell you what.
There's
not, and Patrick Dees, unfortunately, not here again this week. Ray, I was told that last week's juicing convention was such a success. Seriously, he's now a juice kingpin, carrot juice, celery juice, multiple hybrid juices that he's developed. That he's decided to take up a professorialship at a local university. He's working on his tenure towards the organic nature of combining fruits and vegetables into liquids to beautify and healthify your life going forward. It's the Patrick Dees way. There's only one.
So weird. No, it's so weird. He's my co-founder partner. I have none of this information, but I will say this. I don't know if you've juiced before. First of all, it's great for you, but
okay.
bruh, the cleanup of it and it just seems so.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and my wife bought me a really great one. Spent like a lot of money, like $200-$300 for it or whatever. And I got out, you do it, and he's just like, I get this glass of 16 ounces. I'm like,
just get a V8.
Yeah, I gotta clean the kitchen up for an hour and a half. Like, man, fucking that.
I mean, and Jim, put this in there immediately. Jay Spacely, this is the Fan Control Show. You guys get to name the show at the end of the show. Put in show name suggestions all show long. This Jay Spacely show name Juicebox Hero. That is Freddie Airmail level of pundency. Okay, really is. I'm very, very proud of you, Jay Spacely. That's a top pick at the moment. We're here again every single Thursday. Currently, the NFL draft goes off in about 2.5 hours. I've got it over here in the background. I'm in a little bit of a gambling pool with my cousins and brother and some friends on
the draft, like who gets picked.
Top 17, because the Steelers draft at 17 at the moment, all the way to 17. So the person that gets the most correct out of the first 17 wins a little bit of money. So I've been studying, I've been looking at it all week. We had a draft expert on the show on Monday, Ray. His name's Doug Glosser. He's just an attorney that spends his free time making a draft PDF that is unbelievable. It was like 89 pages.
Bro, I used to hang out with these guys, they're actor guys, and some dads and shit. And they asked me to come to their fantasy football draft, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll go.
Sure.
I get there and everybody's got on suits. What is this about? I got a t-shirt on, jeans, some Nikes. Like, what are we doing? And they had the whole thing out. They had their list. They got up there. There was a commissioner that did the first selection, and I was like, This is great. It was great. First of all, I wasn't even in it. They just let me. I was a spectator. I was like a guy holding a Jets fan. I was like, what the is going on?
But you've never been like a fantasy sports guy.
I never have been. I think, and it really, I'm gonna just be quite frank. The way I hear people talk, like I've been in meetings or, you're out and, dinners or whatever, and then somebody pulls up their phone and they will go, oh, this jag off. What's going on? Oh man, he got, he's not playing this.
I hate it. I hate it.
What? Did you? And I think for me, it's a little bit of athleticism, and this it's I'm not using it as athleticism. I'm like racism. There's a little athleticism in there where people say things about guys, and I'm like, man, if that dude was sitting right here, man, you would not be talking to that guy like that. Ever. And I think when I watch fantasy football, like the people I know about, I'm like, it just burns me up, and I'm like, man, not my thing, man.
I used to do it a lot, and I got so annoyed with the people that like lived and died on the draft boards and like the waiver wires and took it way too seriously. That was just always very annoying to me.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I love to sports gamble, and I love, yelling at the TV. I mean, I love calling plays in fan control football, but what I do not like is the guy that you become friends with through your wife, because your wife likes them. Right. And then he's like, oh, you should hang out with Eric. He's a really nice guy. And he's like, hey, do you play fantasy football? Look at my team. Oh, can you believe this guy? I don't care. I don't care.
My wife like the whole, because that's the first thing she figures out and finds out about people's husbands is like, do they like football? Because Ray's not going to sit there and talk about that shit. I'm not. Just not going to do it. And like everybody thinks I will. When you first see me, that's the first thing that everybody wants to ask me about is football. Hey man, how was it playing for the Bears? I'm like, man, I'm like, yo, I feel like a poet. I'm like, I'm so much deeper than that. it's funny. It's like, I look at him like, that's not what I mean, I know you see the look, don't get me wrong, man. I love this shit. Don't get me wrong. I worked my whole entire life for. I was literally today I posted the day the draft board the day that I got drafted. Like
that's cool.
Hearing my name on TV and like it's still that when draft time comes around, it's still like a holiday. It's like a Valentine's Day for women, and it's like Christmas for guys. It's still like, man, wow, I remember that time, and damn, I was sitting on the couch and I had the pinstripe suit that you put on. You wore it. Another man wears my suit. What's wrong with you? When I saw, I was like,
another man had that suit in his office for 2.5 months. What else? I had to put it on at some point.
It was the clothes that you
was stuck in a hotel
clothes you had. Y'all have no idea what that is funnier than you ever imagined.
Yeah.
But it was so surreal because I tell everybody like this: you work your entire life for that moment. You know what I'm saying? And it was I was in Oklahoma, in Lawton, Oklahoma, and my mom, my parent, my mom, my dad, my brother were all in the house. I think I've told this story before, but I literally got the pinstripe suit, the black and white, looked like a gangster. Had the Stacey Adams black and white, I had I had the hat, but I didn't wear the hat. Sitting on the couch. First day's going, and I knew I wasn't going. I was like, maybe I would go first day. Who knows? First, second, third round. I was like, you know what? There was some talk about third round. Let's see what happens. The Baltimore Ravens called me in the third round. I was like, oh wow, didn't happen. They ended up taking Kim Herring, I think, out of Penn State.
Oh,
good friend of mine. I like it. Was a buddy. He's a buddy of mine. So I think it was like, So and then the day went on, and I didn't get drafted. I'm sitting on the couch, and my mom is freaking out. She's like cooking my favorite meal. Like, my son has been let down. He's been working his entire I was just like, she didn't realize it was another day. And then my dad was not at all. And I was like, my dad was cool. He was like, it's gonna happen. I was like, yeah, we good. I ain't tripping. Woke up the next morning, put my suit right back on.
Oh yeah, he did.
Sat right back on the couch next to my dad. The rounds were going. My brother was on the phone, and it was just. My mom was freaking out because she was just like, if this doesn't happen, it's going to crush him. And so that's why I know what all the players and families are thinking. And man, when I was downstairs washing my hands and just leaving the bathroom, literally washing my hands, and I could hear everybody screaming. And my brother was like, yo, is Bill Belichick on the phone? He want to talk to you. I'm like, oh damn. Oh, hello. He was like, welcome to the squad, man. We can't wait to see you. I was like, I appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity. My dad, recorded it on the VCR, and we just watched it over and over for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Oh, God.
And then I took my suit off, man, and I put on a T-shirt that had Tupac and Biggie on it. And I went to Golden Corral.
It's the best.
Y'all have no idea. I was in Oklahoma. There were 3 people that got drafted that year. Daryl Gardner, Miami Dolphins defensive end. Mike Minter went in the second round safety. Now he's a coach.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
And so the Golden Corral was popping. It was already. So I was the last one to get drafted. So I walk up in there. We like, yo, and it was amazing, man, because it was like the Friday Night Lights. Texas and Oklahoma. That football is just, it's a small. People. And I was on the, my dad was a military, so we were Fort Seal, drill sergeant, and it was just, it was surreal, man. And I tell everybody this story. The first person, this is my New York Jets jersey. The first person who came and hugged me when I got into the locker room was Adrian Morrell, the running back.
Yeah.
My freshman, what did I just say? My dad was military. He was a drill sergeant. We spent time in Hawaii. Me and Adrian went to the same high school in Hawaii. I was a freshman and he was a senior. And he remembered my name back then in Hawaii. And when I walked into the locker room, he was the first one to hug me, bro. I can't even make that shit up. Can't even make it up, bro. I'm telling you. Wow. It's crazy. Wow. And I looked up to him. I was like, dude, I'm going to be that guy. And he was a running back, but I didn't care. He was the most famous guy in Hawaii at that time when he was playing. He was in high school. He was the most famous player to come out of Hawaii at that time.
And he was just like, he was the dude in Hawaii. He's like every newspaper,
everybody knew him. And you were just like, as a freshman, I ended up getting moved up to varsity as a freshman, off the JV into the. I'm sitting there looking on, like, who is this? Like, this guy, like a super, like, who is it? And then it was like, he signs a scholarship to West Virginia. I'm like, oh, you got to go to college to play. Let me work on this C- right now.
And your dad, the drill instructor too, must have been like, "Hey, Raymond."
Yeah. Like,
get those. Yeah.
Now you see what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And I say this all the time, man. I had Tim Brown, Bo Jackson, and the number 2 Florida State Deion Sanders in my room. So every day when I woke up, I saw those 3 motherfuckers every day. And I just saw my face in that, like, I want to be that dude right there. That's how it all started for me.
Dude. Well, as somebody that was never going to be drafted into the NFL, hearing any kind of draft story is awesome. And the fact that, the change in draft when you start youth football like that is so slim. And the fact that it happened to you, I don't know how that,
man. Everybody's always like, oh man, you went to college and then you ended up going to the NFL. I'm like, man, I've been doing this since I was 8.
Yeah.
People don't realize these dreams start with players at 8 years old. And there are so many hurdles that you got to get over, whether it's where you come from, injury, you know what I'm saying? Coaching, exposure. There was back then in the 90s, like this was in the 80s and the 90s, trying to be noticed. Now it's completely different. And I'm glad we're even on that subject, man. I saw something that people were going at Deion Sanders.
I saw that too.
For not releasing or saying, oh, we're not giving film to these players. Let me say one thing right there on that. If you don't have your film, then I wouldn't want you as a coach anyway, because that would let me know that you're not a student of the game. I still have my 1997 101s, my 101s with all the receivers at University of Tennessee, with Peyton Manning throwing the ball, with Todd Helton throwing the ball, with T. Martin throwing the ball. Heath Schuler throwing I have that stuff. I do. You know why I do? Because I used to watch film after practice.
Yeah.
Back then you had to get VCR tapes. So you had to you would be waiting there and they had to go over and record 5 for him for A1s, 101s. If I was doing 708, if I had to drop down as a safety, I needed to see that. I needed to see the cards. I needed to see that the schemes. If I wanted 7-on-7 and if I wanted team, I would have my practice film because I was a student of the game. And they're not used to people. They're not used to a coach saying that to him. He's been to the other level, and the other level, you have to be a student of the game. Athleticism only takes you so far. So if you don't have we were having that same issue with our players. I would tell them every day, every time I see them, are you taking your film? Are you getting your film from Huddle? Are you taking your film? Because it's there. We make it available for you. Because I don't want you to get cut, hurt, or whatever, and you can't get film, and you texting me like I'm holding your film hostage. We got other things to focus on.
Sure.
What you not thinking about, just thinking about, oh, we didn't get him his film. That's your job as a professional. If you want to be a pro, act like a pro. You putting that up on social media like he did something wrong. Man, get your shit together. Be a pro. Be a student of the game. Students of the game, they either got the playbook with them or they watching film. And you know what? And here's another thing. It's practice film. It's what, 80% effort? That's not 90. That's not 100% effort. You know why? You can still be in the position and be there to get the interception or be there for the tackle. But do you make that play? That person could fake you out, and that happens all the time. It's 80% effort. So a real coach is not going to look at that and go, you know what? That's the guy I want. Look at the way everybody's playing. That's the guy I want. They're looking at all the schemes and all the internal things that are going on with that other coach.
So what we're talking about is Deion doesn't want to give these guys film. They're transferring away from Colorado. Is that what it is?
Yes, you should have your own film. Is my point. It is not a coach's or organization's job to build your resume. It's your job to build your resume. You should have your own film. That is not we got way too much coaches, staff, editor. You think if an editor got a chance, he's in the middle of the season, middle of spring ball, and he got to cut you tape because you didn't. You didn't, because it's all on the server. And you could have taken it any time and put it and made your own highlight. It's not like it's hard. It's not like there's not those type of tools out there that you can't do on your own. Back then, we had VCR tapes. They had a dude that used to come on the University of Tennessee every floor. He used to come with a grocery cart and collect all the tapes. Because we were keep on getting different tapes. We put them out they open the door. We put them on the side. He come pick them up. It wasn't just because we were watching film or they were picking up, tapes that we can use again. Coaches want to see who's watching film.
Yeah.
So if you don't have your film, if you don't have your daily film or your weekly film or the spring game practice and film, that's on you. That means you're not watching your stuff. You only want your highlights. And that's what everybody works with it, right? This industry, this athlete now focuses on his highlights, and they don't understand. Coaches want to see game film because they want to see you from start to finish. Everybody can give me your highlights.
Yeah.
Right. If you had a job in the real world and you just showed them all the good things you did, and you think that's why people hire you, they want to see. Man, it bothers me when I saw it. I was just like, man, our kids are getting away from. It's not about your highlights. It's about game film, putting a resume on the field from start to finish. 63 plays, not 12 plays that you did your best. I want to see 63 in a row. 63 from this game, 63 from that game, because now I can evaluate you.
But so here's I've been very high on Deion. I've been kind of low on Deion. I'm back high on Deion. Obviously, he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in Colorado. He
bummed a lot of people when he was in the league. He bummed a lot of people when he was at Florida State.
Of course. No. Listen, I'm not. What I'm saying here is that clearly Deion has a vision. Okay. And his vision is he's the head coach. Imagine going to the director of a movie. Okay. He comes in.
Josh, and he's like, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You know what? So, hey, I was cut out of this scene, but could you give me the film that I did? Because I get the fuck. Come on, man. It is ridiculous in the fact that and this is the problem that I have. The fact that parents are so they're pushing themselves in front and sticking up for that. You're sticking up for the mediocrity of your student athlete, because I'm gonna be honest with you. If you think about real quarterback, like all the quarterbacks and all the schemes and all the things that are going on, the people that are going to get drafted, there's going to be a whole lot of people waiting and hoping and wishing tonight and tomorrow and the next day. But they're going to be guys that know that I did everything that I had to do. I was not the fastest, the strongest, the biggest, the smartest, and I knew that. And I had to do anything, and I had to do everything. I got to go watch film with that guy. I got to go work out with that dude. I got to go meet with that coach. I got to figure it out. And if you're not doing that, you're not really thinking about your career. First rounder guys are going to be first rounder guys because they're going to put up numbers. We know that. But what about everybody else? They spending money on you. So you got to have they got to see everything. They want to see it all. I'm spending hundreds of thousands or 500,000, 600,000. I don't want to see your highlights. I do not want to see your highlights. I want to see how do you react off of cover 2? How do you act off of a blitz? How do you act off a 3-step? Can you see 3-step? What happens if you get bumped? What are you doing off? Let me see your effort. That's what I'd rather see. Let me see your effort from first quarter to the fourth quarter. I don't want to see 12 highlight clips. What that do? That don't do nothing for me as a coach.
And the difference between
We're having such a good conversation, and you
I'm gonna
are
lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. Hasn't been like this in a year.
Never, ever. It's the closet.
During the show. Like I don't. It's
now it's coming. You good? You good? Maybe it's your blood pressure is making it like that, but you're good now.
It's my blood pressure.
Yeah.
So, but all in is his highlight, right? Because to watch, maybe they will. Maybe they. All we athlete, you have game highlights. You have full coaches. You have other players. Scout the scout. You have every other what they don't and what they like. You have stories that you've heard. You have stories. Marino. Steelers. Somebody else in Pittsburgh smoked weed. That my goddamn.
This is so funny for all y'all.
I'm getting.
It's so funny because you're like, this is such a good story. I can tell. But I listen. I would say this. I would say this, and you know,
ladies and gentlemen, his Knicks just won their first series in 30 years. Hello.
Now you're there. You're there. You there? All right. Listen, I didn't need Josh anyway. So this is what I was saying. Listen, the thing that I like that Dion is doing and he's done it his entire career. He's always transitioned into what was needed in the industry, and now as a coach, yeah, he's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. But somebody said, "Oh, he's only going to be 5-7." What was Colorado's record last year? And on a business in a business standpoint, I don't know if anybody's seen. I've seen spring games. I've been back to the University of Tennessee and seen 50,000 people. I've been to an Ohio State spring game and seen 80,000 people. You know, these are the biggest, stadiums in the nation. But then when you go to Boulder, Colorado, and it was maybe 2,500 last season, and now it's filled, that's a huge business decision. And for me, for those players that are transitioning out of the portal, I get it. He might not be your cup of tea, but to not have your own film and not have your own resume, that's all on you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, you got to take that up on yourself. I'm gonna look at some of these questions. Led to believe that this wouldn't. Okay, Freddie MF, you said it sounds as if they were led to believe this wouldn't be an issue for them. I say the same thing though. Okay, but they probably also didn't expect to be told transfer out either. Now, listen, I said that to our players too. It's not an issue for us getting you film, and they're right. We make it daily available during the season. Now you're exiting out, and you want one of our staff people to now put together a customize of boom, boom, boom. These are all your plays. That's not their job. And now they're taking the focus off of spring game clips or 7-on-7 clips or 1-on-1 clips. That's not their job. And I wouldn't put that on my staff, and I can understand why he's not putting it on their staff. It's just being real. But Freddie ML said, I've been worried the whole time that the way Sanders went into Colorado might alienate some guys, might burn some, especially the guys who have been the backups. I agree. I think that, think about it though, Freddie. If any company that makes a transition and changes CEOs, what's going to happen? Most likely they're going to get rid of the people that were there, and they're going to bring in people that they trust and want to work with them, right? So I don't see it being no different. He came in and said, hey, my senior vice president is my son, and made him the quarterback. But and that is what a CEO would come in and do. They're going to put together the best team, to be successful. This might have been exceptional for you before I got here, but you guys were, I don't know what your record was, and there was a reason for it. So if the same people are still there, that means that record is not going to change. If me just being you can't put it all on the coach that was there. It may be the actual players that were there. So the ones that are hey, look, if you want to join the portal, that's cool. That's all. You just made it easier for the barber or the chef to cut off the fat. That's just being real. Everybody wants to leave and go to the port. That's fine. But you just make it so much easier for a coach to cut off the fat. You make their decision way more easier just because you don't, a lot of times players don't really know the big picture, and they make those decisions not understanding those pictures, the big pictures or the big plans. And I think that's kind of what happened. But these are great questions, Freddie. You killing. Hey, can I hop on in my studio if you need me? You can hop in. I don't know if you I think Fro can let you in. If Fro wants to let you in, I'm all for it. Rufus Clevey, what the hell are you laughing at, Rufus? You ain't saying nothing yet. I think what is surprising people now is that the months after he was hired, and some of the guys are leaving just to transfer in this winter. So some of them are following Sanders from GSU. Yeah, of course. I mean, he had some play. I actually went to a couple of GSU games, a couple of HBCU games that they played, and they man, I loved his energy on the field. And I'm gonna just be real. If you can't tell, I'm pro Prime. I'm pro Neon. I told you I had his jersey up at when I was in high school, and I even wore number 21 in high school. And the reason I say all of that, I was not as flamboyant, and no one ever could be, but you cannot take away this man's confidence in his leadership. Everyone who knows him, that's played with him, that's coached him, he lays it out. I think the way Dion was in college back then, he would be the number one NIL person right now, NIL athlete right now, because he truly understood his value. And I think, the thing about him is that he's so confident, it sometimes rubs people the wrong way. And I get that. That's part of the game. But yeah, so okay, Jim, bring him in. I have a problem with it. Ha! Well,
yo,
I wouldn't expect
what up? Me, I didn't expect myself. Project Nerd HQ in the building. What up, Ray?
Hey, I was, I'm like a freestyle rapper. You know what I'm saying? You can just put me in the garage, and I'm just gonna look at you. I'm just gonna go at it. So when Josh went down, I just took shots at him. It was 225, but you can't lift 225. I wasn't worried. I was ready.
What up, Commish? It's draft day, Commish.
It is, man, and it's exciting. I was telling my wife, we were talking about it, and I posted something earlier today, and it just brought back memories, man. And it's some of my teammates are their kids are up for in the draft. I'm like, damn, okay.
Oh man,
remember him, so it's cool, man. How y'all doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Knicks just won. I'm on a different high, man. I'm still feeling it from last night. This is the first time in 10 years, the second time in 20 years.
It's beautiful.
So I'm gonna let y'all, so y'all can take over the show a little bit about that. Please tell me what I missed this information. What's going on right now? What's going on with the Knicks? What happened?
Go ahead,
let's start off with the fact that we bashed the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games to move on to round 2. I mean, we've got amazing pieces like Jalen Brunson. How you doing? Emmanuel Quickly. How you doing? Hey, go ahead, because it's just exciting. The Knicks are just killing it right now.
Yeah, and the thing to me that is more special about this is that we didn't sell out. right? We didn't go out there and try to get the superstar player who was disgruntled. We didn't trade all of our draft picks, our young players. We done this organically. Normally, if you're a Knicks fan, you're suffering because every 3 to 4 years, we're firing the head coach, we're firing whoever's in the front office, and we're rebuilding and we're restarting from the beginning. Now we finally had 3 years of consistency when it comes to Leon Rose, when it comes to Scott Perry and Tom Thibodeau. Give that man his flowers because he showed you what a real vintage 1990 coach can do in the NBA.
Damn.
Now, Kamish, the best part is for us to start our Knicks Morning Brew show this season, okay? And go into it with no idea of what our squad was going to do this year. Let me tell you, this was the best season to have a series started, okay? Because it's been fantastic, man.
Tell me why? Why do you say that? Why? What's the difference between last season and this season?
Well, last season, it was the normal, we can't make it to the playoffs. We can't make it into the play-in. You know, the usual, do we have the right pieces? We need a superstar. So last season, I did a pilot with Jerry Ferrer and Drew Austin. It was Knicks Nights. And it was the hardest content for us to want to do once a week to talk about our Knicks, okay? This season, Hector and I, my little brother Phil Porto is on it with us as well. And we wake up happy to talk. We're like, hey, you want to do an extra show this week? Let's talk more Knicks. So it's been fantastic. And I mean, you know, you guys have Mr. Bibby on your side with the hoops. So I know he's appreciating this a little bit too right now.
Man, Mike is dope, man. I've been able to meet his dad, man. It's just like just legendary shit. Like, and Mike, and if y'all don't know, Mike's shoe game, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
it is as big as my entire basement. It's crazy. So I'm excited about that though. But what y'all thinking about the draft? Like, what's your thoughts? What do you? I mean, you don't have to throw out any names because I tell you, I'm my old age. I can't remember everybody's name. But what do you think? Because I'm in Chicago. And you know, I love what we're going. I love what we've been trying to do. I'm glad that we finally have a quarterback. It's been, I don't know, fucking 10, 12 years before we had a quarterback. Hold up, wait up. And that's my people. Don't get me wrong. That's my people. We're gonna talk about Aaron Rodgers in a minute. In a second. So I want to hear that shit. Because he was in the league when I was in the league. I was like, why the hell are you still there? What the hell is going on? But I'm excited about what the Bears said. Hey, look, man, if the best player come up, we grab him. They first of all, they got a lot of rebuilding to do, but they finally got the chess piece that they needed was a quarterback. Yeah. So, like, what do you got? Like, so for your Jets, like, let me know. What are you thinking now that you've got old man Rodgers, you know, at the helm?
Hurtful.
That's my thing, man. I've always been a fan of Rodgers. So, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, it's great to wake up on a draft day and not have to question, are we going after another quarterback, right? For me, the Rodgers situation, let's be real, best quarterback we've had in at least the last 8, 9, 10 years at the helm, right? His worst season is still more yards than our best quarterback. Listen, with the core that we have in place, Kamish, with these receivers, you're giving him a Garrett Wilson, you're giving him Lazard that he's used to. He has the pieces around him, and that's why tonight, every single pick in my head is go get me more pieces to the trenches. Get me some tackles. If Skorganski falls, oh my gosh, if he is there at 15, like fix up the O-line, give us some more pieces. We got our guys back. I'm happy about the Rodgers signing. I mean, Kamish, this is the first year I've walked around with this tattoo where people actually say good things about the tattoo. All right, now laugh at me.
That's debatable.
Oh, coming from a Giants fan. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. New York Giants fan.
Well, listen, you know, I'm a Giant fan, right? So, you know, I know what it's like to win a Super Bowl within the past 20 years, right? I understand what that feels like, you know, not to say that the Jets can know what that feeling is like. No, but all jokes aside, when it comes to this draft, to me, I may sound biased because I'm a New York guy, right? I got the hat on right in front of everybody. But last year draft seemed like it was more exciting because both the Jets and the Giants, they had like 5 or 6 of the first 10 picks. This year with the Giants sitting all the way back and even the Jets now with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, it's not like we're looking for anybody in the draft.
Where the Giants at? Where
the Giants are at? I think they want to say in the 20s, 25. They're literally at 25, right? So when it comes to the Giants, I'm good, right? As long as we shore up that offensive line, as long as we can find somebody to back up our running game, I'm good where we're at, right? We got Danny Jones, Danny Dimes, you feel me? I just know when it comes to Daniel Jones, I don't got to worry about him getting suspended because of whatever conspiracy theories he entertains on Twitter. you know, get your aluminum foil hat, Jake. Hey. It's gonna be a long season, all right.
Commish, did you see Lamar Jackson just got the bag and signed his long term?
He got that bag. You know, that's my the quarterback coach is my boy T. Martin. National championship, University of Tennessee, played behind Peyton Manning, USC Trojans, doing that thing. So yeah, he's in good company, man. He needed to get that bag, man. Yeah, I was happy for him, man. He deserved it. I've always been a Lamar fan, and I don't know what Roethlisberger was talking about with him not like you don't fear him. Yes, hey guys,
it's a Macuga.
It may work. Is it
it's
good?
It's a Macuga. Macuga type. But no, I'm happy for my boy Lamar to get that bag, man. They just look. I'm gonna say this too. Not that the other white boy done showed up. I want to say this. You know that quarterback position has been, you know, held hostage for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Just being real.
Like white people.
The Randall Cunninghams and the Warren Moons that broke barriers. The Doug Williams that broke the barriers. Now all these scouts. That's you could just tell. Everybody wants the Kyler Murrays. Everybody wants the Lamar Jacksons. The guy. If you think about it in your head, now when you talk about and think about football, like damn, the person that has the ball in their hand the most. Like if you were playing basketball, who has their hands on the ball the most? The guard. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just like, why would you not put the best athlete at that position to handle the ball? And so I think that is now becoming it's starting I think it first was trending or trendy, and I think it's now becoming the exception at this point.
Commish, do you feel like people need to put that narrative to rest on Lamar's not a quarterback? Like, how can people watch his game and still have the audacity to put that out there on social media? I don't get it.
I don't look at any of them comments unless they ball players. Because the ball players will tell you, oh, you must not have played against this dude. By the way, like you look at what Tyrann Mathieu like, wait, what? What'd you say? Like that, like so all that trash and all that distraction, man, I don't listen to all that stuff. It's funny. But if you was thinking about buying a house, would you listen to anybody else talk about buying a house, or the people that actually know about the mortgage? What's going on?
I live in a 5-flight walk up in the Bronx. You don't got to worry about getting housing tips from me when it comes to buying a home.
You ain't right. So is there somebody specific?
Like one time, and I was bumping Busta Rhymes, the digga doom doom boom. Dropped this chick off and went digga boom boom.
You ain't right, Commish. I love how Josh is now in the chat. My internet sucks. I'm just gonna be in the chat. All right, Josh. It's funny too because I was like, hey, can Hector, Project Nerd HQ, be on the show today with me as my co-host? Because he knows Josh Macuga in an off way. Like Josh used to be a bartender in the city when Hector used to go there. He was like, and then I'd see him on TV and stuff. So I think Josh is purposely just hiding from you, Heck. Right?
No, what it is I've been a big fan of Josh Macuga dating back to when he was with Collider and with the guys talking movies all the time. So I've been following Josh Macuga for a long time. And Josh, I used to work at Lombardi's Pizza right there on Spring Street. So I think you was one of the bartenders that gave me a drink when I was underage. So I just always wanted to say, Josh, I love you for that, brother.
Wow.
Now we know why he hit.
Yeah.
So I think I want to get to some of these questions. One is, What do you consider a sports failure? What do you consider a sports failure?
Okay.
Well, right now, with a team being eliminated from the playoffs, you got to look at the LA Clippers, right? When you look at the LA Clippers and that super team that was supposed to be Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they never amounted to anything, right? I know people want to point their fingers when it comes to the Miami Heat when they first got together, but the LA Clippers coming together as the next big super team, to me, has been the biggest sports failure over the past 10 years.
Damn. Okay.
Look, I'm going to go back a little bit, and I'm sticking with my Jets when it comes to failure, and we all know it has to be the Mark Sanchez butt fumble. I mean, that is still something that's thrown in my face all the time, all right? I had a birthday cake. My mother brought it. It was about 4 years ago, and she had them on the cake, do a little graphic, and that's what it was. It was the quarterback, Sanchez's jersey, and his face in the butt. That was my birthday cake, okay? So that's the one I'm going with, Commish.
I'm going to turn my hat backwards. We got Jose Ruckus in the chat who's saying the East Coast love is too crazy on the panel. So I apologize, Jose. I'm so sorry.
There's a lot of East Coast love on this bad boy. I'm going to have to say no arm wrestling. Like there's actual wrestlers, man, and they don't have arms. I mean, it tripped me out. I saw this the other day. They actually don't have arms and they're wrestling. I can't Shit was crazy. I know. Like you can't look at it and not look at it. You're like, I can't believe I'm watching this.
I'm lost now.
It was crazy. I sent it to Josh, man. It fucked me. I was like, bro, this is like, what are we doing? Like, and I think what's happening when you think about real sports failure, and I know this, we're in this cancel culture, but you think about sports now on the internet. I mean, I saw bowling soccer.
Oh, the crazy combinations that
the ball was a bowling ball, and they were.
Did you see the boxing chess game?
The what?
They play chess, and then they make their moves that goes down, and then they go right into boxing. And it's either checkmate first or knock the guy out first. And they literally ding, sit down. They make chess.
Have you seen the booth boxing?
Oh my gosh!
In the phone booth?
Oh yeah. What growing up in New York,
I'd die one slap.
Growing up in New York City, we used to do that on purpose because back in the days when they used to have the phone booths and stuff like that, we used to call it 50 cents. You go into the booth, 50 cents was put down, and you in there for 30 seconds, and the winner gets to keep the 50 cents.
Man, that's an actual sport, dog.
But actually watching the phone one, that was kind of crazy. I could watch it.
Now, bro, the slap shit, dog. That just, I mean, I don't get it, man. And I see the views. It's like millions of views, and then you see these dudes' faces, and they be like this. One chin is down here, and the other one's up here, and I'm like, what is the point?
Afro just said it. I was about to say it. Afro, what's up, bro? But I saw the same thing. Slap boxing on the booty for women. They taking turns slapping the booty. I swear to you, Afro, thank you that you saw it as well. So I know I'm not a liar. I was like, what is taking turns smacking booty? That's literally the sport.
I saw a sport the other day. It was, like if you power cleaning. Right from the like a 45, like 45, you got 45s on the bar. They were rolling it on the floor to see if the bar would hit your butt. This was
and then people laughed at me when I wanted to make like Dungeons and Dragons a thing, right? People laughed at me when I wanted to do that.
It's insane. I would say I still think this is a really great idea. I think I saw it and it was cosplay or Comic-Con or whatever, and they had the guys MMA fighting, but they were superheroes, bruh. It's brilliant.
That's down my lane. I'm going to the Ren Fair in Jersey coming up next month on the 20th to the 21st. So I'll be at the Ren Fair.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. Like I could get into that right there, man. That would be some dope shit. Like you see some actual MMA fighters wearing like the Hulk or Panther from Thundercats or some shit.
Yeah.
Well, you can just tune into one of my streams every once in a while. We've got guys in costumes all the time.
Of course. How's he doing, man? Where is he at? Whoa, what the fuck? Where's he at?
He's not here. I'm sorry.
Hey,
he's on vacation. That's what it is.
So here's an interesting question. Somebody texted this to me. They were like, were there any hot cartoon females? And I was like, man, that's a weird question. But then they just said that Rihanna just got Little Smurf. They're doing the Smurfs.
Okay.
And Rihanna's voice is the Smurf. You're like, wow.
But would that fall under a good-looking cartoon? That's just the voice. Did they mean maybe the actual cartoon itself? Because then that makes it even weirder.
It's the cartoon. Yeah, it's the voice of the cartoon. Yeah.
I would say the original is probably like Jessica Rabbit from back in the days.
Nailed it.
Right in the chat, Woody the Duck just put it. For me, I have to go with, if you guys ever seen Mighty Morphin, the Power Rangers movie, Delphine, who helped them out on their quest. She was top notch for me.
I would say Chitara, Thundercats. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Commish want to sleep with one eye open. He's like, just in case.
Oh man, you know what too, man? Look, I just thought about it. But first of all, let's send a shout out and a rest in peace for Harry Belafonte. Lost a legend today. And then I mean, if you grew up like we did, Jerry. I mean, that man, Jerry Springer changed television. I'm not saying it was for the good or the bad, but he changed television forever. Like, and I just an icon to me. I thought he just did an amazing job. I'm not saying I used to watch that shit, but I mean, still, if you think about what he's done here, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
The Jerry Springer show was like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all in one. Before it even was a thing. It was all three of them.
He opened the door for them. Exactly. That's awesome.
And if you ever stood home from school, during the week, Jerry Springer and Maury was back to back for like 4 straight hours.
You're not the father, Jerry. You're not the. That was your whole afternoon.
What's the other? Maury and Ricky Lake.
That was
Ricky Lake. Yeah.
Oh man, we sound old. Arsenio Hall. You want to keep going? Like we got more.
I was gonna say Arsenio Hall, but you said we sound old, so I had to back up.
Now that's old right there, Arsenio.
Actually Arsenio Hall was like the first like talk show that was like that actually had like musical guests that were like a frequent, co-host with him.
Yeah. Arsenio back in the day, which is it's kind of funny if you think about it. He got canceled back then. If you think about how that happened, he got pretty much canceled. And I can't remember. It was either Malcolm X. It wasn't Malcolm. Excuse me, Louis Farrakhan, or I can't remember. I thought it was Louis Farrakhan, but after that one interview, he ended up getting canceled. And I can't remember. That was back then.
I saw that on the documentary thing too. That they put
back
out
then
the
he had
90s
gotten
thing.
canceled, and it's crazy when you think about this, this culture and how easy it is back then. It was even being done. So
yeah, Commish, can I ask you a question? Switching gears.
Yeah.
Because you're my football guru, so I'm always gonna go to you. I gotta talk about Aaron Rodgers for a second. Do you see Aaron Rodgers playing more than 1 year with the New York Jets?
That's really interesting. I honestly don't think so. It really depends on how how successful the team is. And I'm saying that if they're not successful, it's probably he will probably have a big reason because of that. But if they're not successful, that means he's taking a pounding. You know what I mean? Like if they and I like what you said, like, you bring in somebody like that, what are we thinking in the draft? If we already think we have the weapons on the outside, we need to get somebody to protect them. Period. That's all I'm I would assume that the Jets would be drafting O-line. I would that would be my hope. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would be thinking. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because we had talked about it on one of our shows, and my biggest thing about wanting Rodgers, not only because it's Aaron Rodgers, was Zach Wilson. We're still saying that we're going to stick with him. Yeah. And that kid came out of college idolizing Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So if you're putting the kid in the best position possible,
1,000%.
So if he's there learning from Rodgers and he makes that turn that they're hoping he makes,
it's Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers all over again. I mean, and I'm blanking on the name because when I spent like a drink of coffee with the Packers, and that's when Leroy Butler was there. Darren Woodson, not Darren Woodson, the safety that's in prison right now. I can't remember his name. I'm tripping. But it was Aaron. It was Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, but the other Aaron. What was the black quarterback? Who? It was Aaron. I'm somebody will put. I know.
Some in the chat. Guys.
Radio probably put it in the chat, but and they were the backups of Brett Favre, and I remember both of those Aarons were like 3 or 4 years already in the league. Like they had already, their bodies were already, and I think that's the difference between, to me, the Tom Brady and the Aaron Rodgers. Brett was there a little longer, and it allowed Aaron Rodgers to kind of, learn, get it, understand it, and then when he came out, he was ready to go. He was like all pro, and he was Hall of Fame coming out of the womb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think having that veteran quarterback in your ear will be the best thing for him as an NFL player. Like backup quarterback, there's two of the best positions: long snapper and backup quarterback. Long snappers can play for 16 years. I played with Maynard. He played for years at Chicago. 16 years snapping the ball. But a backup quarterback can easily play 5 to 8 years and not touch the field and still have a long career. It's incredible. So I think it's nothing but a good thing for him.
For me, I look at it like this, right? Even though I'm a Giants fan.
Thank you, Freddie ML. Yep, Aaron Brooks.
Oh, Brooks. Yep. For a Giants fan, from a Giants fan's perspective, I look at it like this when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, right? He turns 40 in December. And one of the things that's been like a monkey on his back is people saying you can't do what Tom Brady has done, right? He's not going to get to Brady when it comes to the amount of championships, right? But if he's able to win in his 40s, one, maybe 2 possible championship, that would be able to be a moral victory for him. He could hold that on and just shake that monkey that he has on his back. Or a lot of people that be on Twitter say you can't do what Tom Brady has done. And I could think Aaron Rodgers, being the competitive that he is one of those guys that would say, I would try to tough it out for the next season or 2 just so he could try to get that championship.
Okay. Thank you both for your
I like that.
On that.
That's the nicest thing you would get from out of me this entire year.
I'm literally snipping it. I'm literally snipping it right now.
Bro?
and I don't want to get controversial on this one, but because I don't know, I haven't done enough digging into it, but I've seen a couple clips of like the whole Cam Newton. Like I think it was Cam Newton saying he was better than these amount of players. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, even as a backup, like why unless Cam, you think as a coach or a team that Cam would be a distraction, which I don't think he would, but even as a backup, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me where if even my rookie quarterback goes down, that I don't have an instant vet that can come in and be a winner for us. I don't know that I haven't had a chance to chime in on that. But what do you guys think about that?
I'll let you go, Sos.
What you think, Porto? Oh shit, Porto went off.
I guess the stream must have messed up. I'll answer it like this. You always want to have a veteran that you can go to, right? Whether however you're looking at it, whether it's the NFL, NBA, MLB, you always have to have your group of veterans that the young guys can look for leadership. Because when you look at it, when you're playing professional sports, especially from the quarterback position, if you're Zach Wilson from the Jets, you need to be able to go out there because he was the number one option in college. So you need to be able to go out there and know that you can learn from the best. I think having Aaron Rodgers would probably be the best thing that happens to him, so he can learn from Aaron Rodgers on how he prepares for the game, on how he goes for his week-by-week process when it comes to the film room, right? Doing the little things. People can have their jokes around Aaron Rodgers. I know I do when it comes to all the extra stuff, right? But a man, he prepares for the game. He's there every day when he has to be there a couple of hours earlier, just being in the film room, doing what he has to do, learning the plays, learning who's around him in order to be successful. And that's the type of player that he is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Josh is trying to throttle my internet over here. Josh was like, all right, you guys are having good conversations. Let's freeze everybody. But I mean, when it comes to the backup, perfect example, I got to use the Jets, right? Last season, we lost Zach Wilson right out the gate for 5 weeks. And to have a Joe Flacco sitting back there to get us through those first 4 weeks and walk away with 3 wins, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have that power there. It scares me going into the season right now where our number 2 is Zach Wilson. When we saw what Zach was going through last year, it's like, do you go and bring something better or, more vet savvy that's there while Zach is learning? So I still think we are in that position of, hey, you might need another backup. But yeah, it's pivotal to have a backup.
I think, and I don't know if you guys heard my rant earlier today or earlier in the show about Deion Sanders, but you just nailed it, man. It's are you in the film room? Are you a professional? Do you care enough about it? You should have your own film, like, because you know why you should have your own film? Because you need to be a student of the game. Like this is not Madden. This is not highlights. This is not one-on-ones. At a destroying tryout. That's not how this shit works. You gotta understand and know the game as coaches, as professional coaches. When they meet with your coaches at college, they want to know, do they understand football or are they just running around? There's a lot of kids out there just running around, not being students of the game, understanding, like, I want to know every wide receiver on my team, because Marcus Nash is really Rydell Anthony. And Joey Kent really runs routes like JJ Stokes. And Peyton throws the ball like, you know what I'm saying? You have to figure out how to know everybody's skill, and the only way you can do that is watching film. And if Aaron's not playing against a lot of the teams or those players, he in the film room just trying to figure everybody out. That's it. And you're just trying to learn the language. You go from one team to the next. All you really trying to figure out is what's the language and what do I need to know to make my check.
And Aaron's coming in with the fact that we do have his QB, his offensive coordinator here. We brought Hackett over, so he's coming into a system that he already knows. So I know we've been on the Jets talk for a minute. I'm just a little happy.
Yeah, so the learning curve is going to be way shorter than it would be somebody else coming from a different team for sure.
It just makes it easier for him, like you just said.
So we got my man. Hey, is Fro? I see Khalif in the Bizak round.
Yeah.
What up,
man?
What up, boys? How y'all doing?
How you doing? Chilling.
What's good with you, dog?
Yo, first of all, it's good to be back. It's good to be rocking with y'all, man. It's always good. I got my man Jigga up in the spot. He got the orange and blue on. It's going down. It's happening right now. I don't even know what to say because the energy is too good, and the Knicks squad is all up in here. I forgot to get my jersey on because I go to the bathroom before the show started, but I had to go. So I was like, yo, I gotta run on. And my fan, the commish, I swear, every time I see you put up a new IG post, you make me want to take 2 steps instead of 1. So when I'm walking in the house, I can't feel like I'm putting forth like half effort. I got to take 2 steps when I walk up the stairs to the next floor. I can't just walk up 1 step. It's been good to see you, fam. I know you're going through the rehab. And getting everything, getting your body back to where it was, back to Superman strength. But
man,
you continue to give me just nothing but massive amounts of just love in the air and just good energy everywhere you go, fam. So it's always good to see you.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, he reached out to my nephew, man, and
who's a genius.
Put him on his show, man, like some real shit. That's what this is all about. You know what I'm saying? Like the network is just growing. You know,
nephew is brilliant. If you get a chance to check out that episode of Spawn on Me, definitely go do that because his nephew is brilliant, doing some really big things at such a young age. It is amazing to see him continue to do his thing. I got to ask y'all a Jets question because I know you were trying to pivot pivot, Porto. I saw it in a minute because I'm watching the stream.
No, you're good.
I was seeing the stream, so I was watching. I was like, they're making the pivot. Here's the pivot and the question I want to ask y'all, and especially this goes to Brother Ray because you have been in the heat of New York in the New York press. So my thing is, what you call it, is like everybody's like, is he going to play? How's he going to play? All that kind of stuff. New York press will eat you up and spit you out alive.
They brutal.
And I don't think people understand how New York press plays into the mind of a professional athlete. Do you think that Aaron, with all the stuff that has happened over the preseason, all the stuff that's happened over last season, on the field stuff, off the field stuff, all the, the ways and thinking about the science, we're not going to get into it. But do you feel like Aaron is going to crumble under some of that pressure? Because Green Bay is different than New York when it comes to that media spotlight. I'd love to hear your thoughts a little bit about, like, what does that feel like when you're an athlete in New York and you may not have your best game and you got to go out there. You got to make that pivot before you hit the podium, before you go to the club and be like, I got to go talk to the press. Right. But I also got to go hit the media podium before. So how's that feel, Ray? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Man, you just nailed it. I don't even know if anybody's really thinking about that. That's a great statement because going from New York and Chicago, which are two big media cities, and New York being the biggest, and then spending some time in Green Bay, it is truly black and white. You know what I'm saying? And the way the media is presented, and again, you're Aaron Rodgers being at Green Bay for damn near a decade, and then now you're in you small town country boy coming to the city, and I guarantee you that's going to be played up on both ends, which I think will be awesome. But hey man, as long as he got his black room, I think he's fine, man.
Okay.
Well, look, am I crazy though in thinking? I mean, think about it. Rodgers has always been the press, right?
Always.
Whether Green Bay or not. So he's always had that shade, right? I mean, the darkness we're treats and everything with him and his Nicolas Cage remake look, like he's just so used to it that I think he's coming to New York already with a chip on his shoulder because he's hearing he ain't got it no more. Look at the season he had last year. So I honestly think Aaron Rodgers is an athlete that can handle New York media. And the type to just be like, all right, I'm just going to go to the darkness for the next 3 days every time y'all talk bad about me. So, reasonable. I don't know. I think he's going to be good, huh?
All right. I'll rock with that. I take that as an answer. It'll be interesting to see just how that kind of comes down and where it's at.
And I'll just add to, I think everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers has something to prove, but he doesn't.
Right.
And I think he's going to have fun with this. I really do. I think he's going to have a lot of fun doing it. And I think if he knows what this means. God, look, you don't have the Brian Urlachers, the Jerry Rices. I'm just trying to think of maybe that might even be enough. You don't have that many guys that retire as a, you know what I'm saying?
Sure,
as the team they came in with and then they stayed with, and I'm probably sure even when he retires from the New York Jets, he'll probably sign a one-day deal with the Green Bay Packers. It's probably going to happen. Devin Hester did it. Matt Forte did it here in Chicago. So I can see that happening, but I definitely know he understands in the mind what people think about that whole I'm going from green to yellow to green and white. That's the only proving. Like, do I look good in this suit like I did in the other suit? I think that's what he's going to be thinking, to be honest with you. So
I love it.
Commissioner, if I could ask you, right? Because this is something that I've been wanting to ask you for a while. So thank you, Jake, for giving me the invite here. But 1997 is when you was drafted by the Jets, and in the late 90s is when you was in New York. How was it in New York City at the time? Because the Yankees just started popping off with that dynasty. The Knicks was in the playoffs constantly. They was going through the battles between Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. And this is when Jordan retired. So the Knicks actually got to the finals. How was it as a young guy coming into that situation with the Jets and just being in New York at that time?
Motherfucking wildin'. On the real, I'm gonna be honest, and it was hard.
That is the most authentic answer that I think I ever expect.
It was. I was not expecting, coming from Tennessee. Wasn't expecting New York, and it was all, like you just said, it was the sports mecca of everything going on, and it was in the 90s where hip hop had just taken over. And to be honest with you, the Jets wasn't even the biggest name out there. The Giants always stood like they ran shit. You know, and the only reason that the Jets had a little bit of clout was because of Keyshawn and the Pepper Johnsons. Man, Pepper ran New York. Pepper Johnson ran New York from top to bottom. Like we would go to. I'll never forget, man. We went to his house, man. He was just showing us a VCR tape of a party that they had, and Mary J. Blige was in there. Puffy was the DJ, man. It was just like it was crazy. And
I just said it in my head. The same thing you was about to say.
It was like showing up to practice, and you got, you really see what like Lamborghinis and Bentleys, and it was that type back then. And I never saw it was damn like a butter pecan Bentley, and it was Vinny Testaverde. I didn't even know what a Bentley was. I'm gonna just be straight up and honest. I didn't even know what it was.
I don't think Vinny knew either.
I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was one of the best experiences as a young kid to just say, man, I did that shit. Like I did New York in the best way. I had some of my best, and I still keep in touch with all my Jet friends, but I know it sometimes sounds like I claim Chicago a lot. I do. My wife lives here a lot. Chicago has done a hell. They take care of you, man. Chicago is an amazing sports city, and they are so traditional. And it's like if you play for the Bears, you're like you're in a frat here. And the 85 Bears run this place. The Bulls back. The Pippen day. There's certain sectors that run Chicago, and I think that's what I love. Like being here. If you think about all athletes, they either go back home where they were born, or their college, or where they last played, because your name still has some type of equity that you can go and do the next thing that you're about to do. And that's why I stayed in Chicago. I'm in Chi-Town right now. I stay on the south side. I love this place.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Love it.
That's great to hear. Listen, we're about to get out of here myself, but Commish, it was an honor. Thank you so much. Macuga, next time I make sure your internet is ready, because I want to have a conversation with my guy Josh.
I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all, man.
I'll do the shameless plug. Morning Brew Sports. Give us a like, a subscribe, and follow. We were on a movie theater weekend last week. The film and footage from game 4 and 3 has been fantastic. Commissioner, I love you. Khalif, I'm ready for you to come on the show, talk Knicks.
I'm ready.
Yeah, Khalif, we got to have you on the show.
I'm ready.
Talk Knicks, right?
Appreciate
Knicks in 5 against Miami. Knicks in 5.
Let's go. I'm down.
Appreciate you guys. Khalif, man, what's up, man?
Chilling, fam. Just trying to get it in. Trying to be dope. Trying to be like you when I grow up. That's the way I roll.
Trying to be dope, man. Like, give me your background, like from the top to bottom, because man, the way Dees talks about you, I'm like, we're like, yeah, he did this. You're like, all right, hold up. Like, how did it all start? Like,
oh man,
the way he has made it seem, I can't, like, I'm like, he's like, you gotta connect with this guy, and I'm like, I want to have some time to spend with him. So I'm glad that Josh is not here. So let's go. Give me. I want to connect, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And Josh, you are sorely missed, but not that much. No, I love you, Josh. I mean, I started in IT. I was an IT cat back home in New York. I'm from the Bronx originally. Now in Portland, Oregon. Been out here for almost 10 years now, which is wild to think about in terms of how long I've been away from home in that respect. But yeah, I started in the IT game. I was an IT help desk dude doing, hey, my printer doesn't work. Can you help me fix my stuff? And then I was that dude. I was that dude who was like, yo, I don't understand what drivers are. And I was like, I got you. I will make sure that your printer works, and you were doing that kind of stuff. I did that for almost a decade back home in New York. And then I wasn't feeling great about my kind of current state. I was like, I'm smarter than the work that I'm doing. And I want to feel like I'm expanding and want to, talk about things that I care about. and started to write about video games and started to do that at a site called the Spawn Point blog that I created. Fast forward a couple of years, that got picked up by the Sony PlayStation blog. I was doing some really cool articles around a specific game, and they were like, hey, you're doing this thing and we wanted to do that too. Would you want to collab and do something there? And it was like kind of my first big break in terms of getting into a space that I'd wanted to get into when, you know, people were still doing the blogging thing. That died down after a little bit, moved over into the podcasting space. And then me and my homie, Cicero Holmes, we started Spawn on Me. And now we're in year 10. I've been doing the show now for 10 years. We've been in everything from Black Enterprise to ABC Good Morning shows to New York Times, a whole bunch of places. We had a billboard out in New York for Twitch. We were doing a whole bunch of cool stuff in Times Square, which is the mecca of the big lights in the city of New York.
Come on, man.
So it's been a really wild time to be able to kind of like get into a thing that you've wanted to do, expand on the conversation that you wanted to have, which is spotlighting people of color, spotlighting Black and brown folks in the video game industry. And I can luckily say I've been doing this for now a decade and continuing to move. So it's been a wild time. It's been a fun time. And it's just been something where I get a chance to now expand and play a little bit more and do a little bit more with the talents that I've been given and worked on, and getting a chance to work with you and the rest of the fan control folks and doing some of that work has been fantastic to expand into another space that I really love, which is sports, and especially football and basketball. So, it's all of those things.
I love that though. Like, and we've talked about this a little bit before, and it's like we get in these positions, and we get this platform, and it's like, what are you gonna do for others? Are you reaching back?
Yeah.
You know, and are you trying to grow, and are you trying to educate them from, you know, of what you've gone through? And I love that. And I think, you know, when you think about Black coaches in the NFL, and it's very similar to what you're saying. It's like I know there's no different when I grew up and when you grew up with Black kids and white kids playing video games. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And so it should be more there. That we need to know that is not only an industry, but it's a place to be monetized. It's a place to be, you know, it can be a career, and that's just not you just pushing buttons and wasting time anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing where it's like, you know, in our era when we were growing up, I'm sure we're fairly close in age. We're in that same kind of like. I'm 44.
48. Okay.
Yeah, so we're in that same space, right? I'm sure both of our parents were like, "Yo, put them damn controllers down and go do something with yourself," right?
Well, we had to be outside. We couldnent.
We didn't have the internet.
Video games was an issue. You're supposed to be outside. So. Yeah.
And I think of I think of three places that are really like the great equalizers when it comes to those larger conversations around, you know, race or you know, the ways that we all are around each other and integrate and do those things. I think of music.
Yep.
I think of sports, and I think about games, right? Those are three spaces where we all have this really interesting kind of leveling of the playing field, where we can all be together and all share space and all kind of be connected in a way that we usually wouldn't sometimes when the outside world kind of puts up barriers between us, right? And I think speaking to that giving back layer, I think it's always been a part of what we do here at Spawn on Me through not only the conversations that we have, the people that we collaborate with, but we do a little bit of charity work stuff too. We usually do like an event called Spawn for Good every Martin Luther King weekend, where we go and we ask our viewers and our watchers and all the folks in our audience to help to support a cause or an organization from a smaller space, right? Like we've done everything from reproductive rights to foster care to getting the vote out in so many different places. It's been all of that work too that has kind of brought together this idea of that no one gets here by yourself. No one is a person who has been self-made in that way. You are a product of all the people that you've met, all the places that you've been, all the mistakes that you've had, and all the successes that you've made. And all of those things together are what make you up as a human being. And hopefully you've done enough good work that people want to ride with you and do that work alongside you, right? So it winds up being those kinds of conversations and people that I gravitate to and want to pull alongside me and say, like, look, we're doing something very, very special and something very, very different. So I think all of those things together, or what hopefully make, Spawn on Me and what we do at Spawn on Me as a business, the thing people want to gravitate to.
Do you have the chance to talk to parents about gaming, where is it like, hey, it's not a waste of time, or like how do you approach that conversation?
I mean, I think it goes back to the old school one, right? Which is the idea used to be, or the prevailing idea used to be, that the gaming parts of what you're trying to do is a waste of time. When I flip that and say this is the biggest entertainment sector in terms of how much money it brings in every year and its potential for growth, that flips that conversation really quickly for folks who are like, oh, I can make some money in this? And the answer is absolutely. I mean, that conversation about, like, can you just sit home and play and hit buttons and make money now? That's an actual viable thing. It's not as potentially lucrative. I think it's probably easier to get into the NBA or to get into the NFL than it is to become an actual, like, pro video game athlete.
Really?
Absolutely. I think that there's a democratization of the space because everyone can do it. But I think
that's a good point.
But I think the specializations that you would have in terms of sport is a thing that you can continue to grow into, and you have a shorter window.
Yeah.
But you have the amount of money that you can make is infinitely bigger than what you can. Yeah. But I think the space in which so many different layers of folks can play, you have a much longer tail into that particular, and you have a lot more avenues, right?
That's a good point. That's a great point too, because you just said, like, because at football, there's going to be a point where you just can't go any further.
Right.
Like, not everybody gets to Division I college, and then there's the draft. Yeah. There's another hurdle that some guys got to get over to be professional. And for gaming, there's more people because more people can do it.
Yep.
But now there's more pillars or avenues, I guess you can say, that there's this game and that game and that game that you can be professional. That's a great comment. I didn't even think about that.
And it's interesting too, because I think I remember this. I remember this from a time I went to a Blazers game here in Portland, and I was watching the Warriors were coming into town. And I always like to get to the stadium early so I can go watch people do warm up, especially also I always want to see Steph shoot from, like, the other side of the building, right, and then get it in every time. But I remember watching JaVale McGee, who, if folks know who JaVale McGee is, big center in the NBA. He's been in the league for probably a decade now. He's now become a journeyman in a lot of different ways. JaVale McGee was sitting and shooting threes and nailing threes in the corner. And I'm sitting there and I'm in my seat and I'm like, yo, JaVale McGee, who I've watched play for at least 8 years, I've never seen him shoot a three in an NBA game. and it pulled this conversation into my mind of, we are stunting people's abilities to be able to be their fullest to work in their fullest capacity because of the ways that structures have been made, right? Yep. So, like, you'll never see JaVale McGee shoot a three unless it's like he got the ball at the end of the shot clock and he just had to force it up. But he can hit that shot if he's given the ability to do it. So it tells you a lot about, what you are able to kind of do, what are the structures that are there, and then you kind of move that analog into the video game space and say, for an athlete, I think there are some spaces in which when you get to see folks at the end of their career or towards the middle or the ending of their career is where you see a lot of folks pivot into other layers of the work, right?
Yep.
You started to dig more into your acting layers and doing some of that stuff. Yep. You see a lot of folks try to figure out a way to move into the broadcasting space. Yep. You see a lot of that energy move within those conversations in the video game space. If you're a streamer, you have a lot of different things that you're pulling into your funnel in terms of your tool set that are viable things that you can use in the real world to kind of be an analog to what you do. You are production, your IT, your marketing, your your branding. You're doing everything from on-air broadcasting to promotion to all of those things. Those are all things, if you broke those out into what your resume would be, you have a list of things that you would be able to do, right? And when you think about the folks, when you go back to that conversation, that question about the parents, that's what I tell them. It was like, oh, it's not just pressing buttons and being like, I'm going live and hit me up and go check out my TikTok. It's I'm a video editor. I'm an audio editor. I am all of these things at once. So those are the things that I tell them to say. Don't crap on the kid for trying to do a thing that is, one, something that they love and is keeping them out of trouble.
Agreed.
2, something that's potentially financially viable. And 3 is teaching them skills that they'll be able to use in the real world for a real job.
I 1000% agree with you. The fact that student athletes, college athletes are the most monetized people on social media. They should be pushed into doing all those things because they can monetize themselves. They end up growing their audiences significantly. Think about if we were in college right now with all the information that we have and all the things that we could do, the amount of money that you would be able to make as a college student. They have put the tools out there, and to first of all, the show name is out there, and I'm putting the show name out there. I'm gonna say everybody bailed except for Ray. That's my show name. But my question, my last question, because we're coming out. But what do you have you seen? I mean, because I've seen some of the some clips about like how some of these video games are going to start adding AI into the actual characters and the universes. And this, they were talking about this one game that's got like 70 million universes and all this. Like what? And have you used or saw any usage of like AI tools that could help you customize or be a little bit more efficient in what you do as an influencer?
Yeah, I think generative AI is going to be really interesting in the space. I think it's going to play itself into a lot of different ways. I think the one that we've talked about the most is kind of, as if you're a developer, is like, how do you get a game made faster using some of these tools? So some of the kind of menial tasks that you don't necessarily want to always focus in on.
The editing parts of it?
Well, not even editing parts of it. I think it's more about like building things. So like, I have to build a desk. And that desk has to be populated in 70,000 places within our universe. Instead of having one person mold that and make that, you can make a frame for that and then have the AI make the rest of them with permutations of it, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's those kinds of things that we'll see within that space kind of populate itself, and some of that's already happening. But I think the conversation around AI in general is fraught with a lot of reasonable and unreasonable layers to it. I think people are worried about attribution, which I think is really important. People have to get credit for their work, and also you can't steal people's stuff. On the other end of it is the conversation of like, will this take people's jobs? And then the third layer of that is like, will it take over and then you won't need people in any form or fashion to be able to do any of that stuff? Yeah. We're not at any, the first layer of that conversation is right now the most important, and the other two will get itself figured out.
Yep.
But I think that the video game space, if there was ever one to kind of like play around in that, it would be the most interesting space that we'd be able to kind of see. It's just going to happen.
I agree with you that first one is the biggest. Because there will be some considerable name, image, and likenesses used. I mean, they've already shown it in music already, and hip hop, and we've seen the dubs of Drake and I heard one from Jay-Z the other day. I was like, holy shit. So but again, and even as we talk about editors and creators, when you have that skill, now you have an ability to now sell your voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your voice is now equity to as a voiceover artist would be.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see that happen. But once the legalities layer of it gets figured out, that's when the monetization part will get really, like, somebody's going to snap into that spot real fast and be like, I need to monetize this and get my patents in and be done
I'm
with it.
surprised that the music industry ain't already thought about it already. Like, seriously, like,
they got their sampling stuff right. It's the next layer of what that conversation is.
It is, man. Man, hey, I appreciate you, bro. We got to talk. It's something I want to hit you up with, man.
Yeah,
I know you're in that space, and I work with a lot of HBCU schools, so I want to definitely have a conversation with you, man. So,
I am available. You got time. I got time. Anytime you're ready,
man. I appreciate you, Khalif, man. Spawn on me, man. If y'all don't know about Spawn on me, man, y'all better get with it. I actually worked out with your shirt yesterday because that's one of my favorite shirts, man. Because it just make you look, you know what I'm saying? it just fits in all the right places, man.
We'll get you some more. We got some 10-year joints coming soon, so we'll get you some joints.
It changes up my style because I'm always wearing athlete or FCF shit. So you send me I will absolutely wear them on the shows anytime, man. I love those. I love your gear, bro. Seriously.
Thank you, fam. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Spawn on Mimi, guys. Khalif, my man.
All right, boys. Be good.
So, hey, show name Juice Box Hero. Okay. Did you do that, Freddie? Freddie did that shit. I want to just I'm gonna use my mic as my my soapbox today. I want to just say a shout out to all my co-hosts. No, that didn't show today, but you see how the fans, my man Khalif, they just showed up because we got an army. You know what I'm saying? It just showed that we don't need them. It was set up that way. I know it's probably what we were trying to do. We're trying to push them all out the way. We gonna do it, and I get it. It's all good, man. I appreciate that. This is the way it should have been in the first place. So
I mean, look, if you ever needed, like I said, you throw up the bat signal, I'll rock. I'm here.
I like this setup now. You know, we got to talk, Khalif.
I got you.
People, I appreciate you. Thank you for like sitting through this madness and working with us, man. Shout out to the guys that's showing up for just come. You know what I'm saying? I just threw the bat signal, and they just showed up like that. Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the fans. I appreciate you guys always being here for us, rocking with us. We are growing something special, man, and we appreciate all of your support. And again, man, we got these Emmys coming up, man, we coming out, we coming back with the goal, family. We coming back with the goal, and we cannot wait. And we would not be there if it weren't for everybody that's listening and those who ain't here, man. Shouts out to you all. God bless you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. And as always, power to the Fizzans.